What is going on, y'all?
Y'all.
All right. You should be able to hear Nick. Nick, speak.
Speak.
All right. All right.
Like a dog. I don't require much. Just need a couple commands. That's all I need. What's going on, everybody?
What is going on, y'all? Happy Thursday. Happy football.
Happy football, bro. Football's back.
Hall of Fame game. I know it's going to be Jake Luton versus Jared Stidham.
Is that where Stidham is now?
I think so. But still,
I didn't know that.
I'm still gonna watch. Gonna watch come 8 o'clock. It's still real
Connor,
fake football.
stand up. Let's go.
Real fake football. It's not fake football like that USFL. It's real fake football. But
hey, that wasn't that fake. Those guys are out there playing hard. A couple guys got contracts.
That's
with
true.
NFL
That's
teams.
true. That's true.
The point being, football is more 365 days a year than it has ever been with the USFL.
And it's still not enough.
Coming back next year.
It's still not enough.
We need a 162 game schedule for the NFL.
I wouldn't be mad. But we are here. Face Mask
game 25.
Face Mask Fantasy. We kicked off our members only draft yesterday.
We did.
It went a little bit slow in the beginning, but we're
in the second round. We got through the first round in less than 24 hours. So we're getting there. You made the first trade, right? I made the first trade with
and
Mike.
It worked out for you. You ended up trading back and getting Kyler Murray. So that was a great.
Up the guy who I would have taken it for. Anyway.
I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to the guy who was right ahead of you trying to get Kyler because I knew you would be
trying
going
to jump
Kyler.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was that? Was that that was
Mike.
AB? No, Mike was one of who I made the trade with. AB was who who was right ahead of me, and I was sitting there hoping that he would. Yeah. I was at the end of the day. I was like, all right, if my choice is between Christian McCaffrey and Cooper Kupp, I'm not gonna cry about it. But I was hoping that he would take one of the two, so I could get Kyler while still picking up some draft capital, and it worked out for me.
And on the way back, you picked up Dak, so it rhymes.
Oh, I didn't.
But
no, that's Mike.
That's Mike. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a second. I got his third, and I flipped back my fourth. So he got.
Any way you throw it, man, like respect for making the trade, trading back and picking up Kyler. That was a great move.
Yeah, it was fun. It didn't take that much conversation. Mike was just like, let's talk. And I said, all right. We negotiated for about all of 10 minutes or so. And was just like, we came to an agreement. So, yeah, it was a good time. Pleasure doing business as always. With any deal. But no, I'm coming up in 2 picks here now. I see that AB just took Eckler, and now we got Jason on the clock, who said that he did just mention this pick is on the block. So, but anyway, we don't want to totally alienate everyone who's not in the the draft. But what's going on, everybody? Kilo, what's going on?
What's going on,
football,
Kilo?
Everybody.
Iron, good to see you. Good to see you. Nemo, good to see you. Alex, good to see you. Rojo, good to see you.
Yeah, you guys.
Hunter, good to see you. You already know. Yeah, it's a great day, man. Great day.
Football's officially back. We're gonna watch Snoop Connor and Tyron Johnson pop off tonight.
Snoop.
Watch their stock go up. Yeah, it's dress rehearsals. That's none of the starters are playing. Maybe a couple of them along the offensive line play a series or two, something like that. A couple guys on defense might play, but there's not going to be a single veteran who you expect to see week 1 get consistent work.
No,
playing
not at
tonight.
All. But still, it's good to see real NFL football being played in some form or fashion. So that'll be fun. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay watching.
Yeah,
but
I mean, we get all fired up, and then through the first quarter, it's like, okay, how bad do I actually want to watch this whole game?
Right. Once you realize the caliber of player who is out there is never going to see the light of day on your fantasy team. But regardless, good to see football. The Hall of Fame game is important to these teams, so it'll be fun to see.
Sure.
Yeah.
It matters to the 75th, the guys that are 60 on down as far as guys who are on the roster bubble. So
people's jobs will be like make it or break it because of this
careers.
game. Yeah.
The unfortunate side of football, especially the preseason, is careers end this time of year. But this is your opportunity. Just make the most of it. So see what you can do.
Absolutely.
Maybe you'll turn heads like a Romeo Dubs.
And I gotta correct ourselves on stream. We speculated that he was a 6th round pick. He is not a 6th round pick. He's a 4th round pick. Yes.
I don't know why I missed that. 4th round pick.
And I corroborated that, so I was right there with you. But 4th round pick, so the hype is real. He's not a flyer at the wide receiver position like I thought with the 6th round draft capital. 4th round draft capital is legit. So he's somebody to really look out for. He is.
Yeah, he's I am way more intrigued by him than at least for now. We just haven't heard a peep out of Christian Watson. He's been on the PUP list. He's dealing
and
with
so is Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is out.
Yeah, I think he finally came back. I don't know if he's doing individual drills, but I know he got activated off of the PUP list. Now he is working his way back to practice with the team. So that's obviously a good sign. But Dubs has been making waves recently. Him and Isaiah Pacheco for Kansas City. Pacheco, excuse me.
The only reason I know that is my grandmother's maiden name. So
it's the exact same. Is there any type of lineage there?
Not at all.
Okay, well, there you go. It is an uncommon enough name where it feels fair to ask. Anyway.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco, no relation. But it's Rojo, what do I want for Kelsey? I'll get back to you.
There you go.
But no, in this members only league, I know slightly alienating to some of the other people that are just in this stream, but it's a lot of fun. So just throwing it out there to all y'all non-members. Maybe join and be a member. Next year you can be in a league with us too. Just throwing that out there. But regardless of that,
and that is the buy-in.
The 2022 redraft draft kit is live on our website for absolutely everybody. We teased it out to the members at first. That was a perk, especially for our members that we threw out,
they got 2-3 weeks ago? Couple weeks in advance, yep.
But it is live for absolutely everybody on our website, facemaskpod.com. Go there. It is right below the home link on our homepage. So you click on that, click on the download link, have it on your computer, and it is a 30+ page document that Nick went into the tank for. Didn't hear from him for like 2 or 3 days, and he came out of his basement with this 30+ page document, dressed it up a little bit, and it's a ton of great content in there.
Appreciate
a lot of it is more 1 QB based, but it has extra notes in there for you 2 QB players. So he did the work to just appeal to basically everybody, regardless of what format you're playing in. But great content in the draft kit. It's absolutely free to everybody now. So go on our homepage and pick it up. If you don't want to go to our homepage, or you're just technologically challenged, whatever,
limited,
no hate, it is the second link in our YouTube videos right now.
That is the easy, to be fair, if you're here right now, that is the easier way to access it. It's the second link in the description of the live stream.
So click on that link, you'll be able to download it right away.
Yep, should be a simple download. Yeah, appreciate the vouch for the draft kit itself. It's one quarterback heavy.
Super comprehensive though.
But I do what I can as far as, in Superflex, do this. In this situation, if this guy's off the board, do that. Depending on if you start 3 receivers, if it's a is it PPR versus standard. I try to touch as many bases as I possibly can. Not every name is in there. Like Romeo Doubs needs to be added. So Isaiah McKenzie needs to be added. There are still tweaks, adds, updates, edits.
This is volume 1,
happen.
But
yeah, it's fluid. It's a very fluid, living, breathing document, so to speak. Not breathing, but it's a living document.
Close.
Yeah, basically, we're breathing life into it. But it is a living document in that updates will continue to be made throughout the preseason, whether it's camp battles that develop, whether injuries that take place, which, as we know, will happen. Have already happened. I think I probably got to take Tim Patrick out of there and add KJ Hamler. So yes, if you are looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, this looks dated, Tim Patrick is in here with a positive review. Don't worry. Updates and edits will continue to happen throughout the preseason. But that is for your guys' benefit, for anyone who continue. Obviously, we have been a very dynasty focused channel.
And that's by nature of the beast, because the offseason, what you're not, you gotta go dynasty focused, because nobody's talking about redraft focused fantasy football content in
February and March,
May,
yeah.
right.
But we are, slowly but surely kind of turning the page. We will full on be redraft and week to week over the course of the season itself. Dynasty will take a backseat as far as, I
don't know. I'm going to say it's 50-50. We'll field all questions. We'll comment on it, obviously. But even in Dynasty, you're looking more at the week-to-week viability of players that you have, even if you have them for the rest of their career. So a lot of the stuff that we say with respect to redraft will have Dynasty implications as well. And you can always ask us for our strict Dynasty take on anybody. So,
sure. What I meant to say is, just from, now that we're in August, we are about probably 35 days from kickoff.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So from then, especially then through December, the redraft questions will take precedent.
Yes.
So, but that's not to say that Dynasty totally goes away. Only that we do cover all bases here. We touch everything as far as what we can do. I'm sure we'll eventually be fielding keeper questions, which obviously is a bit of a hybrid between redraft and Dynasty, or kind of an in-between is probably the better term, not hybrid. So yeah, the redraft draft kit is exactly as it sounds. It is a redraft focused plan of attack for anybody who continues to play in redraft leagues, which we ourselves do. Because that's where we started, right? Yep. That's where it all starts.
Nobody starts with the Dynasty League. They typically start with best ball or redraft. Right.
If you do, kudos. I have yet to meet anybody who, or if you have, by all means, let us know.
Yeah, throw it in the chat for sure.
I completely skipped redraft and went straight to Dynasty. I have not heard that before. That's not a sentence I've ever heard or see anybody speak or type or write out. It's all started with redraft, a basic redraft league with 9 or 11 of your other buddies, and everything blossoms from there. So that's where I feel like the draft kit comes in, most effectively, most helpful. Check it out. Go ahead and download it. If you got any feedback, let me know. Whether in the chat or in the Discord. As always, the Discord is also an evergreen invite in the description of all of our videos, all of our live streams. Keep the conversation going over there as well.
But let's get down to this chat. We got a bunch of comments in here. A lot of it is talking about the members only redraft league that we just started out.
The league is officially kicked off.
We have a little bit of discussion in here that doesn't pertain just to that topic. Alex, what time is the game? The game is at 8 o'clock, but of course there's going to be a little bit of a preamble because it is the Hall of Fame game. So tune in around 8:15. You probably have to wait another 15 minutes after that. But the official game time start is 8. So we will be going on here for it's a 2-hour stream tonight. So
I don't know what channel the game is on. I mean, if you stream, then you stream. But
right.
I don't know if it might be on the NFL Network. Let's see, where can we watch this game? I'm just looking it up. I feel like the NFL Network will have it.
And Kilo, no worries.
Oh, it's on NBC.
No worries at all. There's always next year. There's always next year for joining the members only league. And hey, if we get another 12 members by 10 members by the time the season starts, hey, we could start up the Face Mask Fantasy Redraft League number 2 for 2022. So never a bad time to join as a member. Never a bad time to join another redraft league. And Brandon, good to have you in here. Xavier Dubs, what's going on, y'all?
What's going on, guys? Good to see y'all.
Brandon, my draft is tomorrow night. Fun. That's fun.
Dang.
That's
all
fun.
Right,
Superflex auction, half PPR redraft. Is it TE premium? Because besides QB, which position would you say I should spend the most money on?
Well,
I would say Rojo's correct, running backs. But if it's TE premium, there is an emphasis on tight ends.
Emphasis on tight ends. I am always a proponent of in Superflex. I
QBs.
opt for a strong QB2 over even say low end running back and wide receiver ones. I prefer to play with anchors at quarterback and figure the rest out later. The other question I would have is how many receivers do you start? Do you start 2 or 3? Because in half PPR, if you start 3, I'm attacking wide receiver and I'll get some discounts at running back. That's my attack this year. Reason being
early on for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Now, as always, the stud running backs feel good to hang your hat on. And if you hit on one, your playoff chances just organically increase exponentially. If you have a stud running back to hang your hat on. But if you start 3 receivers
and have a couple of flex spots added on where you can play around with wide receiver 4 and start them, right?
I'm opting for Stephon Diggs over guys like Najee Harris and maybe even Austin Eckler. I'm opting for Devontae Adams over Joe Mixon. I'm opting for, look at the Cowboys situation at wide receiver. I'm opting for CeeDee Lamb over DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones. I'm officially on that bandwagon, and I love both of those running backs I just mentioned.
Especially with James Washington going out within his injury.
Out.
Right.
Jalen Tolbert's a rookie who is now going to probably expected to shoulder even larger workload. Michael Gallup all but ruled himself out for week 1. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take until November to return to form. It's the CeeDee Lamb show in Dallas. So if you start 3 receivers, especially in with the half PPR scoring, give me those guys who are less of an injury risk, safer investments than their running back counterparts. I'll particularly call out guys like Diggs, who I would say is probably my favorite to at least lead the league in targets.
He was second last year, I believe.
He's got 160 each of his 2 seasons with the Bills.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to climb too far to get there.
Right, and we talk about, we've talked about Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders no longer being there as it pertains to Gabe Davis. It affects Stephon Diggs, too. Keep peppering your best receiver with as many targets as he can handle. He's already proven he can do it 160 back-to-back years. Can he touch 170 this year? I don't see why not.
All this to say, those elite target hogs at wide receiver do have a little bit of precedence over running backs when you are starting 4, when you do have multiple flex spots. So do keep that in mind. But in the middle rounds to later rounds, it's, running backs. Now, you're not dealing with rounds because you're in an auction. So super flex, quarterbacks first for sure. And if it's a nomination type situation where you nominate a player to get bid on, lots of times my strategy will be once it's my turn to nominate a player, I'll nominate a player that I have no interest in at a position that I have no interest in, so that other people spend money on players that you have no interest in, and then that, just by nature of the amount of the money pool that your league is playing with at the time, will make players that you want that can be had later on cheaper. So that is definitely a strategy that I work into auction early on into an auction league.
And last thing I'll say about the running back dead zone this year is optimal. It's more optimal than it's been in years past. And I assume you equate your auction dollars to the value of draft picks. Ezekiel Elliott regularly goes in the 4th round. I love A.J. Dillon this year in the 5th or 6th round. Antonio Gibson, a lot of people are down on. I'm not. You can grab the Patriots running backs. You could get them both probably for not that much money.
Devin Singletary projects to be the number 1 for Buffalo.
Singletary's fine.
Talked about Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds is fine.
You can get the cheaper of the two in terms of the Philadelphia running back core. You can let somebody else draft Miles Sanders and pick up Kenny Gainwell.
Go grab Kenny Gainwell, the true RB1 for the Eagles. A
lot of hype for Ramondre over Damian Harris. You could grab both late and just
grab them both.
Yeah.
Rock with both. And then if one goes down, the other is probably a high-end RB2.
CEH goes super late.
Clyde's going late.
Super late. So even though you might not be 100% sold on him,
but he's dirt cheap relative to what he has been.
You can draft him almost around where Chase Edmonds is being drafted, which is unheard of.
Yeah. So if you start 3 receivers, I'm opting for the anchors at wide receiver over the anchors at running back and sprinkling in the discount guys. I'll go bargain hunting at running back this year more than I ever have, because I feel like the quote unquote dead zone, even the guy who will start for the Jags, not tonight, but for the season, Travis Etienne. His price is going up a little bit.
Jacobs too.
Sure. Yeah.
Both cheap.
Zamir
cheap.
White is dealing with some knee injuries, and Josh Jacobs' ADP has not climbed as a result. So go ahead and do that. The RB dead zone is more optimal this year than it has ever been. Give me my anchors at wide receiver. Even if you only start 2, Brandon, I'll take 1. Give me one. Give me Diggs. Give me Evans. Give me Lamb. Give me one of those guys to hang my hat on. You'll pay top dollar. You're not going to go nuts because it's not Jefferson or Kupp. I mean, you can obviously get in the bidding on those guys, especially if it's like these guys are coming in lower than I feel like they should. But that allows you to get an anchor at wide receiver, hang your hat on. Still have plenty of dollars. If you want to spend on an Aaron Jones, a Saquon, a Leonard Fournette, guys that are going in the 2nd round, equivalent, and then that dead zone attack.
Now your draft, is that redraft, auction, superflex, have PPR? Yeah, okay. All right, so what I was going to say next is more dynasty related, but lots of this might just stay applicable to your situation, and it piggybacks on the strategy that I brought up earlier with nominating players that you have no interest in early on. The other thing that I would recommend you doing is being kind of frugal with your money. Being frugal with the amount of, I don't know if it's called fab, but the dollars that you have available. Some of the best teams that I've seen in drafted in an auction format let 20 players go before they bid on a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have these first-time drafters sometimes spending half of their fab on 3/4 of their fab on 2 players that they love, and then they're saddled with that. So lots of times it's beneficial to be patient in an auction situation. So I would just say that it applies, I believe, to redraft and dynasty as long as it is an auction situation. Lots of times it pays to be patient. I remember in a Superflex Dynasty League, and this is different because it's Dynasty, but last year, Superflex Dynasty League, Darnell Mooney went for like $2 because everybody had ran out of money by then. You know what? So
you get some decent.
Sometimes it pays to save your money for later on when everybody's blown their loads on Jamar Chase and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and then you're left with, $100 while everybody else has 20 to spend on some of these guys that people forgot about. So that's just another strategy that I would say is beneficial for any auction league.
Sure.
Any auction draft. The objective, what is going on? Good to have you in here.
Yeah, what's going on? And Nemo, smash the over. Smash the over on 50 rushing yards for Snoop tonight. Based on the depth chart, he should start.
I think Reichwell starts, but I would say both of them go over 50 yards too.
Maybe Reichwell starts, but Snoop's going to mix in more than Reichwell. If I had to guess, he's the one. Yeah. He's the one who's battling. He's the undrafted free, or they spent a 5th round pick on him. He's not undrafted.
No, he's not undrafted at all.
50 yards for Snoop. Obviously, James Robinson is not playing tonight as he works his way back from the Achilles. Obviously, Travis Etienne is not playing tonight. Snoop's going to get work. Smash the over, 50 rushing yards. I would totally take that. Because, yes, you can bet on preseason games. And, yes, I do not pass one iota of judgment. Get your money. Smash the over on Snoop Conner rushing yards tonight.
Yeah.
I think he mixes in a ton.
The objective, you ended up shipping off Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, and a 23 third-round pick for a 23 first-round pick and second-round pick, and John Mechie in a 3-way trade. Feeling like you sold too low on Renfrow. Thoughts?
All right, sorry, I'm just reading this back. So you shipped Jacobs, you shipped Renfrow,
and a third-round pick. So that doesn't matter too much.
A first and a third.
No, a first. Just a third. For a first and a second, and somebody who, I don't know if you saw the news, the objective, who has cancer and most likely isn't going to be playing this season. We don't know what his future holds for him.
It's a very treatable form of leukemia, what I understand, which is great news. But obviously, everybody's body is different as far as reacting to and progressing and from something like
but this. We've seen another position, obviously, but James Conner came back from cancer and has been a very startable asset in fantasy at the running back position. Obviously, wide receiver's a little bit less physical than the running back position. So in 2 to 3 years, this could end up looking good for you. Especially getting that first and second 23 pick. You should be able to turn Jacobs into a 21-year-old running back who has more promise than Jacobs, and that second-round pick could turn into Renfrow or another position, depending on which position you go in terms of the draft. So I don't know if you sold too low, but you got to wait and see on Mechie.
So the thing about Renfrow is, as I was doing my draft plan, I realized how much I'm not in on him and need to be more of, just because despite the addition of Devontae Adams and the return of Darren Waller, I just don't want to discount the fact that he caught 100 balls last year and now he's available in the 8th round. So it is fair to wonder, did you sell a little too low on him? He will be 27 in December. So, that's not old.
That's the wide receiver prime.
Yeah, that's wide receiver prime. And for what it's worth, as awesome as Devontae Adams is, and we expect to be, I mean, Renfro's the one who has the built-in chemistry with Carr right now, based off of more years in the offense. It's a different offense now with Josh McDaniels in town, but quarterback and wide receiver are still the same, and Carr has clearly developed some form of comfortability throwing to Renfrow. Probably won't catch 100 balls this year with Adams in town and Waller back, but I expect him to stay pretty productive. So I don't mind getting out from under Jacobs, although I do think he should be fine this year. But getting to 23 first, that sets you up good for the future. It makes your team worse this year, obviously. So I would just say I hope you're looking at your team based off of this move. You're looking at your team and thinking to yourself, I might not have enough to go for it this year, and that's why you made the move.
Yeah, this is not a win now move. Then you probably had to know that going into making the move.
Sure.
This could, 3 years down the road, you will be looking at this move and thinking, I'm glad I made this move.
Mm-hmm.
Because 3 years down the road, Renfroe will be what? Going on 30. Jacobs will be going on 28. And whatever that third and 23 would have been will probably, their chances are 50-50 chances out of the league by then. And that first and second round pick and Mechie will most likely be, right around 24, 25, 26 even, depending on who you're drafting, and will be coming into the prime of their careers. So this is definitely a forward-thinking move.
Yep.
Anybody selling Renfroe right now is probably selling low. But I don't think you gave up too little or too much for what you got back. I think it's a pretty even trade.
Should be fine.
Johnny Jones, good to see you.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the draft hunter. Hunter asked about his first 2 picks. And real quick, Xavier, before we get away from that, we did start the league already. It is a members only league that we do have with our members. So to play in a league with us, that is a caveat. We do ask that it is, something that people who sign up to become members of the league, that is one of the perks of becoming a member of our channel. You can play in a league with us. Now, we probably at this point need a few more members to be able to set up a second league before this season starts. There's still time, but obviously that's a decision that multiple people need to make. Do you guys feel like you are invested enough in the channel where you're interested in becoming a member? But if you are, that is the entry fee, quote unquote, so to speak, to play in leagues with us. So
now there is going to be a new tier added to our members.
That's right.
Our members offering, there will be a 99-cent offering that gets you access to our members only live streams. The other tiers of our members streams will stay the same. They'll stay static. Nothing is changing there. But with the season coming up, we wanted to just make it available to you. Pay 99 cents and you get one more stream a week with us. Sometimes 2, maybe 2, depending on how we end up divvying out our time, our availability to our channel on a week-to-week basis once we're in season. But Hunter is here to vouch for us. Thank you, Hunter. Much appreciated. He says $3 a month, bro, and it's worth it. Trust me. We would think so, but that's up for you to decide. So. If you decide that you don't want to, you just want to dip your toes in to see how much of how much it's worth to you. 99 cents that will be available by next week as a tier for us, for our members offering, and you'll get at least one more stream a week from us. Right now it's scheduled for Wednesday. Chances are we'll have maybe 2 offerings for you guys in season. So if you want to get more access to us on a week-to-week basis and even on a day-to-day basis, access to our members-only Discord, you'll only have to pay 99 cents. So I did just want to throw that out there. Yep. Xavier, thank you for becoming a starter member with us. Much appreciated. Love to have you. We will make the change after this stream to give you availability to our Discord. The members only part of our Discord. Are you in the Discord already?
I don't think Xavier is in the Discord unless you have a different username that I'm not aware of. But
so the Discord is the third link now in our description. right?
Yep. Feel free to click that. That's an evergreen invite to join the Discord, where we're talking football every day.
So join in there. As soon as you join in, we'll add you into the members only portion of our Discord too, which just gives you more access to us, primarily more access to Nick because he is the Discord king out here. So much respect to you, Nick. I am not. I just haven't been as available on Discord.
We'll get you in there, and you'll not be leaving eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, yo, look, see, y'all already getting a bunch of love, man. We love having new members in here. You got that nice yellow badge right next to your name. You get the added benefit of being able to throw a bunch of members only emojis in there, so it makes the live streams a little bit more fun. And you get live streams with us once more a week, which is definitely beneficial to y'all in season if you have some of these day-to-day questions that you have with respect to your redraft leagues or dynasty leagues, whatever it may be. But we love to have you.
Yeah, man.
Love to have you. Thanks for joining.
As far as starting this early, honestly, man, other than like a maybe 2 or 3 week stretch after the Super Bowl, we never left.
No. We've been here. We've been streaming 3 days a week. And we've been building up to, I think, what's our tentative schedule? 5 times a week next come
during the season. Tuesdays will be a waiver show. Wednesdays will continue to be a members only stream. We're probably looking at converting our Thursday stream from a general public stream to a members only stream where John will be talking shop with y'all, taking you up to kickoff, and probably, if anybody's interested, streaming along with you guys the first half of the Thursday night games.
And what that's going to be is it's probably going to be just a open-ended public stream up to the game, or 30 minutes prior to the game, and then we will switch over to a members only offering for when the game starts, leading up to the game, so y'all can tune in to the game and watch it along with me and Nick if you feels like tuning in that week. So y'all can watch the Thursday night stream with me, or the Thursday night game.
Got it. Appreciate the clarification. Sorry for messing that up, but
no, not at all.
Yeah. Friday will be a reprieve day for us, and then we will go back to the heavy duty Saturday evening and Sunday morning. Saturday probably still starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, like the Tuesday and Thursday streams will be start, sit, help, and then Sunday usually up until kickoff. Maybe we go
starting
until
10
like
a.m.
12:30
EST.
Yeah, 10 a.m. will be again start, sit, help right before all of the games start. Obviously, weeks where there are international games that start much earlier, those might be excluded, or maybe incredibly short streams in between the end of that game and the start of the afternoon slate.
Or honestly, we might just go live I might just go live just for the members. In those situations, I might just wake up early. But for Nick, waking up early would be 3 o'clock in the morning, so we're not going to do that to him.
But I love you guys, but I do need some sleep.
You're right. But Saturday streams, Sunday streams, Tuesday streams, Wednesday streams, Thursday streams, probably 2 different variations of Thursday streams. We're gonna have a lot of streams for you guys come the start of the season. But we do speculate that we're gonna have more questions than we have time to answer. So
that's definitely possible.
Lots of times, if you're a member, you'll get exclusive access to us. You'll be able to get all your questions out of the way, and you won't be fighting the rest of the general public, the general YouTube watching public on Saturday or Sunday for your questions to get answered. So just a little added benefit there. You won't have to spend $10 in a super chat. You can spend 99 cents in a members only league or members only situation and get access to us, 1.5 to 2 times more a week. So just throwing that out there. But bottom line, Xavier, great to have you. Thanks for joining our members only.
Yeah, man, welcome.
Our members only club.
Welcome. Yes, sir. We'll see if we can get another league started before the season, but we may need a few more because there would be some odd people out from this second league. But that's something that we can work toward. We still have, 30 days or so before we would have to make a final call on that. So there is time. Real quick, before I forget, we can talk about the members draft that's currently ongoing. Hunter wanted our thoughts on his first 2 picks, and I don't want to forget about that.
Absolutely.
I love that you got McCaffrey at the 110. I didn't think I would do it. I didn't think I would see a day where I ranked him as my RB1 overall again, but I find myself going back to that well. I do officially prefer McCaffrey to Jonathan Taylor this year as my overall RB1. So to get him at the 10 spot is a win for me as far as I'm concerned. I would have taken him. I probably would have taken him had AB taken Kyler Murray ahead of me. I would have probably just taken McCaffrey. And then I know you're a Derrick Henry guy, Hunter. As you know, we have been a little bit more lukewarm at best about Derrick Henry, but
when he's on the field, he's a threat for 30 touches a game, and he is a legit game breaker when he's on.
He's going to get all the work he can handle. AJ Brown's out the door.
You are technically zagging while others zig, going non-QB while others go full QB like Alex, sniping Nick early on, going Trey Lance and Jalen Hurts. So
you already know if Trey Lance was available to me at the 2-9, it would be over.
Yeah, so I'd love to see it.
That pick is in 10 seconds after I'm on the clock. There's no doubt. So,
but I like to see somebody going 2 running backs early on, while other people go 2 QB early on. So that's definitely interesting for sure. And we'll see how the rest of the draft plays out. But you will have 2 of the highest performing, if they're healthy, 2 of the highest performing running backs on a week-to-week basis. So that is a plus for you for sure.
Yeah, man. Did we miss anything else at the top as far as the members league? We did kind of jump straight to the non-member draft questions again.
Kilo
like John
asks,
mentioned,
how many firsts do you have in 2023? He has 5.
Who's that for? Is that for the objective?
No, I think that's just for us. In our in dynasty leagues, how many firsts in 2023 do you have?
I have 1 in one league, and I don't have a 23 first in another.
I have 1 in one league, and I have 4 in another.
John has a top
as much as Kilo with that 5. Not as much as I know there's some other members subscribers in here that tune in regularly that have upwards of 5, 6. I don't have that many, but I do have 4.
There you go.
And Nemo, Aaron Jones for London and a 24 first, or London for ETN straight up. You'd get
getting London.
London.
If you can ship Aaron Jones for London and a 24 first. I love Aaron Jones.
I think I would do that. I think
I would do that and roll the dice on hanging on to ETN. Obviously, ETN is unproven. Aaron Jones is very much proven.
But 3 or 4 years younger, too. So
3 or 4 years younger, and you get to keep ETN and pick up the 24 first while getting a dude who
I would do
looks
that Aaron
like
Jones deal.
Yep. Looks like we might crush our early projections on him as far as not being in on him. I started drafting him more in best ball, by the way.
As you should.
London. I was like, screw it. I need to get some shares of this guy because it's quite possible that he polishes off a 65 catch, 900 some odd yard, 5-6 touchdown season.
Yeah, I project his first season to look like DK Metcalf's first season. His first season to look like T. Higgins' first season.
Didn't DK have like 10 touchdowns his rookie year?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like 900 yards and the amount of catches
I was thinking more along the lines of like what Devontae Smith put together last year, like 64, 65 catches, just over. He had 964 yards. I know these numbers specifically because I am an Eagles fan. But like something like what Devontae did, the difference, and Devontae was in a very similar situation as London is this year. Operating as the number 1 wide receiver for a team as a rookie with question marks at quarterback. But what he had help with is a really good pass catching tight end as his running mate. And I think it's fair to say, and Dallas Goedert is one of the more underrated players as far as an overall player at the tight end position. Kyle Pitts is more of a threat as a pass catcher than Goddard is. So maybe Pitts siphons more work than Goddard did, but the situation is very similar.
Yeah. And just for stats correction stake or whatever, DK had 7 touchdowns his first season. 7 touchdowns, 900 yards. I think that's within the range of possibilities for Drake London, considering what we've seen from Drake London in camp thus far.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm counting Drake London up as just a miss for us early on in the draft process. He looks to be a dude. He looks to be a dude. So respect to him. And
Drake, if you're listening, we never doubted you.
Regardless, I would do that Aaron Jones for London and a 24 first.
I think I would do that too, and I love Aaron Jones. Before I forget, Brandon came back at closer to the top and said that he could start up to 4 wide receivers. So in that auction tomorrow night, man, attack those studs at wide receiver and just pick up the pieces. Go clearance shopping at the running back position.
Pick your spots with those wide receivers. Don't, when somebody's out there shelling out 33% of their fab for a wide receiver, abstain from bidding on that. Do that. Wait for a lot of those guys to, blow out all their money on a couple of dudes, and then you can pick up the second tier level guys who can perform as first tier level dudes later on for much less money. And then still have enough money to guarantee your chances at getting some of these higher profile running backs that fall, or into the dead zone. So that would
maybe help be in on those studs that people are gonna blow their fob load on. Help jack the price up, but then when you start getting to the point where it's like, I already know that this is a big price tag, then you can bow out.
Yeah.
But I would be in on Diggs. I would be in on Mike Evans. I would be in on CeeDee Lamb. And then I would go, grab maybe like as a second tier option, keep an eye on one of your favorite Chargers wide receiver. Keep an eye on, we just talked about DK Metcalf, your Rashad Batemans. I would even say Chris Godwin. Like keep those guys in the back of your mind as well. Those are the guys I'd be targeting. Elijah Moore.
Let me keep talking. I'm going to take a quick break here. I'll be right back in like a minute.
Okay. So, just do attack wide receiver, worry about running back later. Just wanted to make sure we clean that up. Rojo, I know you grabbed Pat Mahomes in the members draft. Obviously he's Patrick Mahomes, but pretty much enough said, right? And the Chiefs did him a solid this year, replenishing the wide receiver talent. Losing Tyreek Hill, losing Demarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle, but picking up Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and drafting Sky Moore, not to mention the best tight end in the game he still gets to throw to in Travis Kelce. So there's plenty of options still in this Chiefs passing attack. Plus, Patrick Mahomes is probably objectively, just take fantasy out of the equation, from an NFL perspective, the quarterback that you want. If you had to, if you could start an NFL draft of all available players, Mahomes probably goes 101. So that's just a vote of confidence in his ability. And then you got a great offensive mind, a head coach in Andy Reid. It's just a lot of turnover. That's all. It's a lot of turnover on offense, moving from Tyreek Hill, plus those other guys that had been in the system for a couple of years, to a bunch of brand new guys who will be stepping in year one. And obviously Juju is a name, but he's a significant downgrade from Tyreek Hill. So Mahomes should be fine. He should be just fine. But had I stayed at the 104 where he got where Mike took him, I would have taken Kyler personally. Just because the rushing upside is for me a little bit more tantalizing, and the weapons are just as good when DeAndre Hopkins comes back.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I am back. What's going on?
Welcome back, Jason. What's going on?
What's going on, Jason? What's going on, ML? What's going on, Riley?
What's going on, guys? All the members are getting acclimated to what their names are in the members draft.
Riley,
Xavier's
what's that?
Hold on, Xavier's asking about Trey Lance and Kittle. Before we get to Riley.
I see it. Sorry, Xavier.
Do we think Trey Lance and a Kittle stack in one quarterback full PPR would be solid? It would be fine. I love Trey Lance this year.
We both do. He is a target, and if it wasn't for Alex sniping us,
I just heard a notey that I'm on the clock.
Hey, there you go.
Or no, I'm not. I have one more pick.
And I think Day Welker is Jason.
That's Jason.
Right?
Yep.
So you're going two running backs to start off too. So respect to that. But back to Xavier's question. I like the stack. Love Trey Lance. I'm a little bit iffy on Kittle, but I've always been iffy on Kittle. So I'm not the person to ask. So I'm going to leave the Kittle analysis up to Nick, because I've always been slightly hesitant to go all in on Kittle.
If you swapped George Kittle into with Travis Kelce, if they switched scenarios, George Kittle would have a higher ADP than Travis Kelce.
Most likely.
I think Kittle is the superior athlete. A little better yards after the catch. Kelsey's just I think Kelce is just, well, first of all, Kelsey's a great athlete in his own right, in a great system. And I think he's just a smart football mind. He knows, he's always exactly where he needs to be. Not that Kittle isn't, but Kittle has a little bit more athleticism that he can rely on.
Kittle also has just a little bit more injury risk.
He has a little bit more injury risk.
And that's always been where I've kind of strayed away from Kittle. I know what his ceiling is when he's healthy, but he seems to always have some sort of quarterback-inflicted ceiling and an injury risk.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Kelce doesn't have really either. Kelce's been basically an Iron Man at the tight end position, and he has one of the highest ceiling QBs in the league, if not the highest ceiling QB on a game-to-game, week-to-week basis from a passing games perspective.
It's just a question mark with Kittle. What is his role in what will be a new look offense? Because you can only go off of so much as it pertains to limited sample sizes. But when Trey Lance got in there for the 49ers last year, Kittle was relatively quiet. Now, if you're the 49ers, you're going to go out of your way to continue to scheme ways to get Kittle the ball. Because he might be there, outside of Debo, he's another dude who is like a complete player for that offense. He's an excellent blocker. He's the best blocking tight end. Well, actually, based on the numbers, Dallas Goedert, to be fair, is the best blocking tight end in the game. But Kittle, I would say,
because he was asked to do it so much more last year. But
Kittle but Kittle's got much more of a reputation.
Yeah,
as the best blocker, or as if not the best blocker, one of the best blockers at the tight end position in the NFL. So he's absolutely elite at that in that regard. So the fact that you can put Kittle on the field and you genuinely don't know what he's going to do on a play-per-play basis is a mismatch in favor of the 49ers. We just don't know how voluminous this passing offense is going to be with Trey Lance inserted. And with Debo soaking up so much as the amount of work that he did last year, Brandon Ayuk is an upper echelon wide receiver 2 for an NFL offense. You have to continue to find ways to get Kittle the ball. But it's just based off of, again, it's a very limited sample size. It is hard to fully vouch for him. He's a top 5 player at the position. That cannot be argued. Actually, take fantasy out of the equation. He's probably a top 3 player at the position, just as an overall tight end. But when you bring fantasy back into the equation, which of course is what we're in the business of,
right?
It's hard to give him a full endorsement. Whereas with Trey Lance, I can give him a full endorsement.
But I mean, hey, if you stack Trey Lance with Kittle early and can land an Ayuk later on, I think that's as good a stack as a 3-man stack as you're going to find, while basically taking a discount on QB and wide receiver. Because the most expensive player in that situation will be Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that I will just point out. You can get a very cheap stack, 3-man stack, if you go Ayuk then later on. But
yep.
We love Lance. Kittle should be a top 5 tight end this year, with upside for much higher if he stays healthy, and can demonstrate a connection early on with Trey Lance, which would obviously bode well for your fantasy prospects if you had both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a Niners fan and you want to wait on QB, there are worse stacks to have. Worse stacks to go and target, for sure, in a 1 QB.
There's only so long you can wait, though, on Lance now because, the jury's out. Jimmy Garoppolo's days with this team are days as a starter are over. Days on this roster are likely numbered. Trey Lance is the guy moving forward. The 49ers have said as much. Jimmy Garoppolo is not weighing Trey Lance's ADP down anymore. So you got to go into the 7th round to get him. Maybe a little sooner. I don't know if you play with other 49ers fans. I don't know if this is like if it's a home league and you're all 49ers fans, just organically, naturally, Trey Lance is going to go higher in that scenario. If you stand alone as being a 49ers fan in that league, you can probably wait till the 7th round, but I wouldn't wait any longer than that.
Just as a cautionary tale, if you're in a league with anybody in our members only, squad, you're gonna have to be drafting earlier on Trey Lance. Just throwing that out there because Alex did draft him in the 1st round of a Superflex league, but
because he knows I would have taken him if he somehow
he knows I would have taken him too. And hey,
oh well, there you go. So I never would have gotten him unless
no,
I traded
you wouldn't
up.
have. You wouldn't have.
So there you go. But yes, I am quite high on Trey Lance as the guy who I'm kind of planting my flag on at quarterback this season. I planted my flag on Jalen Hurts last year, and he delivered for me. I'm planting my flag on Trey Lance this year.
Yeah, you've been very vocal in that, and you actually swayed me into moving Trey Lance way up my draft boards when we had the discussion of the top 12 QBs, top 16 QBs. Your take of having Trey Lance firmly in the top 10 swayed me with putting him within the top 10 for me as well, even though I had him outside my top 10. So, first off, thanks for putting me on. Second off, y'all have been warned. Trey Lance has as much upside as anybody else.
He's going to feast this year. I don't even care if he throws for less than 3,000 yards. Who cares? He's the 49ers. As far as I'm concerned, he's the 49ers RB1. And he's going to throw the ball a little bit.
At least in the red zone. And that's where it counts.
Yeah.
Riley VIP, good to see you again, man.
What's up, Riley?
Love the profile pic. In a PPR league, starting lineup includes 3 wide receivers plus a flex. I'm the 9th pick. Would you suggest at least getting 1 stud wide receiver with those first 2 picks? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you right now, if it's Stephon Diggs, who maybe doesn't last that long in full PPR, but if he does, I don't care who else is on the board.
Yeah, I would go Stephon Diggs with the 9th and hope that Swift comes back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a good chance that he might. And honestly, if he doesn't, I might consider going wide receiver again.
Yeah.
I might go wide receiver with the first 2 picks this year. And then start hitting on running back with the 3rd pick, 4th pick, go back to wide receiver. I would go 3rd pick, running back, 4th pick, go back to wide receiver, 5th pick, then it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where, Kyler at QB comes into play. That's where some of those tight ends come into play. But with the first 2 picks, I would have no issues going wide receiver.
No, I'll come right back and take CeeDee Lamb. And in full PPR, I'm taking Mike Evans over DeAndre Swift. I mean, look, I get the appeal of full PPR.
Oh, I am too.
Getting a pass catching running back. Make no mistake, but in full PPR where you start 3 receivers and with the flex could potentially start 4, I'll go wide receiver to start a draft. And instead of DeAndre Swift, I'll take discount DeAndre Swift at the 3-4 turn in Travis Etienne.
And then go back to wide receiver and pick up
then I'll take DK.
Cortland Sutton or something like that, or a DK, right? Yeah. One of those guys will be available for you in the 4th. So, yeah, 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds is probably what I'm shooting for.
Yup.
I like Swift. I like Kamara. I dare say I love those guys in 2022, especially Swift because he doesn't have any legal concerns tied to him. But circling back and getting Mike Evans in the 2nd, in the 4th going DK or Cortland Sutton, or maybe a Mike Williams falls to you or something like that. Absolutely.
I doubt it, but I would be doing jumping jack or backflips if that happened.
Yeah. Honestly, you could go 3 deep at wide receiver to begin your draft.
That's fine. In full PPR, absolutely.
And I wouldn't be mad at that because
absolutely
of the depth that is available later in drafts with, getting Chase Edmonds and super late in drafts, Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson late in drafts, Devin Singletary late in drafts, Antonio Gibson in the middle rounds there. I really think this is the year to go wide receiver heavy early on.
Yup. No question.
Don't be afraid to do that. Nemo, your RBs would be Barkley, Etienne, A.J. Dillon, Gainwell, Hines, Algiers. Wide receivers would be DJ Moore, Elijah Moore, Drake London, Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jarvis Landry, and Deontay Johnson.
Do it. Do that trade where you give up. I love Aaron Jones, but you're adding London to that mix adding Dillon. A 24 first.
You have Dillon. Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Do
that trade.
That makes it so you don't have to rely on one of the Giants' wide receivers early on. You can wait to see who separates themselves from the pack, and you have Deontay sitting there who we haven't mentioned it yet, just got a 2-year extension in his own right. So shout out to Deontay for getting that. We weren't expecting that. We weren't projecting that, but he got it done. So good for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I have to check the average or the annual value of the contract as it relates to other guys of his caliber. I haven't looked at that quite yet. But 2 years, $36 million. So that comes out to, I guess, around $17-18 million a year. Feels like a bit of I feel like that's kind of team friendly for the Steelers. It's not a total discount, but it's definitely not what the likes of Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel just got. Now, to be fair, I think a lot of people consider Deontay Johnson maybe a tier below those guys, but I would be just fine paying Deontay a little bit more if I felt like I had to.
And I am going to swap screens real quick. And
swap some screens. Of course, I'm making picks while I'm doing this draft.
Absolutely.
Of course, or while I'm doing this live stream. Of course, I'm making picks.
Come on now, you are up. You are All right. You just made your pick.
I did. I'm getting diggy with it.
Oh, man. There you go, man. There you go. They had to throw it up on the screen. And Rojo, you're up next. I see you're in the draft room, so I'm going to keep this up for a little bit until Sam's on the board because we know he's on a honeymoon, and then I'll shut her down and go back to the
He's
other.
back. So I don't know if you saw.
Okay.
He was actually in flight yesterday, and that's what he was literally on a plane.
Okay, all right.
Like
we'll give him a pass.
He called me. He was in Vegas for a layover, and he was like, I didn't even know. It's like It was all good. I was like, I should have mentioned something. I didn't know that he was flying. When you assume you hear a honeymoon, you assume like, oh, they're gonna stay till the weekend. I think they had like last weekend or the weekend before, and then this past weekend. So they came back in the middle of this week. So they were literally flying yesterday when Sam was on the clock. So he gets a pass for that.
Look at Rojo going. Oh, did you trade Joe Burrow then? Or do you have Burrow and Mixon?
He did. Now? He traded. So him and Mike traded the third and fourth picks straight up 1-for-1. So Rojo, instead of he flips Burrow to Mike for Mahomes.
So you don't get the quarterback running back step,
so
but you still get.
There's no Bengals there's no Bengals link up there. Nah.
And yo, Riley, I'm sorry that we're killing you. But hey, I'm glad that we.
No, I think you said we're killing it. Appreciate it.
Oh, I thought. Sorry, I read that wrong.
We're not killing it.
Hey, then respect. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Sad J, what's happening, man?
What's going on, Sad J? Good to see you, man. Hope everything's going well. I'm just coming back up, just checking to make sure. Yeah, Johnny, I agree. If you put Kittle on the Kansas City Chiefs, his ADP would be higher than Travis Kelce's. It's just a situational thing. But yeah, when you factor in everything, not just fantasy, Kittle's the complete package. But like you said, you don't get a quarter of a point for a pancake. You know,
right? Honestly, the highest ceiling player, if he was playing with Patrick Mahomes, would be Kyle Pitts, because he's not asked to block. He is playing wide receiver from the tight end position. But if we're talking a true tight end, Kittle is the best tight end in the league. He is.
Yeah, it's just a situation where the 49ers ask him to block. You know, let's say Travis Kelce runs 35 routes in a game, Kittle might run 25. That's just but if he's in the Kansas City offense, he's running 35, and he's the tight end one. No disrespect to Travis Kelce, he has there's a reason he gets utilized.
He's 32
as much as he
years
does.
old, man. Like, I'm not. One's 28.
Oh, it's not even age.
32.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that. It's not it's just. Actually, why are we bringing up Travis Kelce's age? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, Kelce is a good blocker, too, in his own right.
Kelce's a good blocker. He's not on Kittle's level.
Yeah, but I would dare say that the durability of a Kelce and the consistency of a Kelce might outrank Kittle in terms of the issues that he's had staying on the field.
Yes, Kelce, there's no argument Kelce clears as far as availability. But when on the field, Kittle is the superior blocker.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And Riley, thank you for the kind words. Sorry I misunderstood you, but thank you for the kind words. And if you have any more questions, y'all already know. I see you threw in Michael Thomas or Allen Robinson have full PPR. To me, it's Allen Robinson all the way, because there are no concerns with him, and he's playing to Big Triz's point earlier on in the week in a dome with one of the best quarterbacks in terms of passing in the league.
A tendonitis, according to Hunter. Stafford does. Dealing with some tendonitis.
Okay.
Was that a legitimate? I think it was legit. Right.
I'm not
maybe
real
missed
worried.
Where that happened. I'm not so worried about it.
Matt Stafford's a guy that's dealt with a broken discs in his back and still played.
Yeah.
I'm not super worried about tendonitis with respect to him, and he has like a month to really get healthy because we're going to see a month of preseason games before we hit the regular season. So he has time to get healthy. He should be fine, and I would rather have Allen Robinson than Michael Thomas, and it's getting a little closer with the good news on Michael Thomas, but it's
the vibes are good. The vibes are good, but Allen Robinson has been a low-end wide receiver one, catching passes from Blake Bortles and Mitchell Trubisky. Now he gets the far and away the best. It's not a minor upgrade. It's a significant upgrade at quarterback and situation going to the Rams. Give me Robinson.
He should be a red zone monster for the Rams, who the red zone monster has been Cooper Kupp. We saw how many touchdowns he's put up throughout his career. Allen Robinson should get a fair amount of touchdowns this year in the red zone. Not to mention, he's just an all-around good wide receiver, to your point. Wide receiver 12 in back-to-back seasons prior to last season, playing with Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky. So, Allen Robinson for sure for me. And Sad J, I just want to shout out Sad J. You sold your house in this whack economy. Much respect. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Congrats on sell. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
It is. It's supposed to be a seller's market, but that's a win. A win's a win. Nicely done.
Yes, sir.
I'll get to the question about Kittle versus Pitts in a second. Johnny did ask us to expand a little bit about what we're thinking about Deontay. I know we mentioned that he got paid, which is nice.
Step back, but still a very solid high-end wide receiver too.
If I'm drafting at the end of the 5th round and he slides a little bit, because that's what would be like sliding for him a little bit, or maybe even just the 5th round in general, yeah, I'll take a shot because Deontay has earned that. He was a low-end wide receiver 1 last year, and even with either Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, I think it's going to be Trubisky. It's a quarterback upgrade over a washed up Ben Roethlisberger. Now, the argument to that point that is in, where maybe you might consider it a detriment for Deontay is, well, Ben couldn't throw it anymore. So it was just like little short throws to Deontay all day long. I mean, if the quality of targets goes up even a little bit going from Trubisky to Deontay, he can still maintain strong fantasy production. There are a few names also just going around where his ADP is that I am a little bit more intrigued by this year. But I love Deontay. The talent is undeniable.
No, wide receiver 8 in PPR leagues, wide receiver 12 in standard leagues. And if you look last year at his game logs, plural, he was one of the most consistent wide receivers on a game-to-game basis. He didn't put up a dud and then put up a 50-point week like Chase or Jamar Chase. I mean, if you look at it, week 1, 12 points, then 15 points, then 0 points because he didn't play, then 19 points, then 14 points, then 14 points, then 12 points, then back-to-back weeks of 9 points, then 19, 14, 26, 12. If you look at those numbers, if you compare them to basically any other wide receiver in the league, he's the most consistent wide receiver at putting up low-end wide receiver 1 / high-end wide receiver 2 weeks. So I think he's just going to continue that into this season. To Nick's point, better targets, might not get as many targets, but better quality of targets will lead to him being in position to do more with the targets that he's given, do more in the red zone. And last year, quietly, he had a difficult schedule. He did. And I think his schedule this year will be a little bit easier. So the combination of a slightly easier schedule, the combination of slightly better target quality, even if the pure number of targets is projected to go down, which it is. We project that. Both of us project the number of targets to go down in this offense with them drafting George Pickens and Calvin Austin. He should be able to buoy his value a little bit and still stay at least a mid-tier to high-end wide receiver 2. He might not reach, PPR leagues wide receiver 8. But wide receiver 12, between wide receiver 12 and wide receiver 16 is the sweet spot, I believe, for Deontay, and still makes him somewhat of a value considering how consistent he is. So there you go.
I mean, I don't know that I have anything more to add to that.
And Sad J, just to go back down to your question, thoughts on Kittle versus Pitts this year in half PPR? I'm going to give the floor to Nick because he is the Kyle Pitts
president of the Kyle Pitts fan club.
There you go.
It's Pitts, and it's not particularly close for me. Kyle Pitts currently has an ADP of around like 32 or 33 on Underdog Fantasy. I think if he was listed as a wide receiver and not a tight end, we'd see him going in the second round. Marcus Mariota has never supported more than a wide receiver 3 for any of his wide receivers. But he has supported multiple tight end 1 finishes when Delaney Walker was his top target before he got benched when he was still with the Titans. We haven't seen Mariota for a couple of years. So maybe there's been some, growth while on the sidelines, maybe some behind the scenes clipboard development as he gets the chance to kind of sit back and watch and maybe, attend more attention to detail, more opportunities to kind of sit back and learn because he's not playing. These are all maybes. And he's older now, generally speaking, players who are older, they've seen more. They're quicker probably to dissect things, recognize different things. So maybe Mariota's developed a little bit in that regard. Regardless, he was still he was pretty raw when he was supporting tight end 1 finishes from Delaney Walker. Now he gets a player at the tight end position who is significantly better than Delaney Walker already as a 22-year-old. Actually, he's 21. He won't be 22 until October.
Yep.
Kyle Pitts is a freak. He's a unicorn. What's his RAS score?
It's only, it's in the high 9s.
It's in the high 9s. So it clears.
I'm not going to say it's only behind Jelani Woods because that would be untrue. There are some tight ends who have had at or above RASs, but it's not just that his relative athletic score is that high. It's that his football IQ is that high too. Yeah. Because we've seen higher upside as far as athletic, size-adjusted athleticism prospects come into the league. You just need to look at Jelani Woods. But Jelani Woods a report came out earlier that he's having issues getting up to speed in the NFL. Kyle Pitts came into the league basically ready to play from day one because his football IQ matched up with his elite athleticism in a way that we just haven't seen in fantasy football in recent memory, or really at all ever.
Yep.
So Kyle Pitts is a pure unicorn at the position.
I think he's an excellent pick in the 3rd round this year. I have no problem grabbing him in what we have ultimately determined is a deeper collection of tight end talent than in the past couple of years, as far as being able to go kind of go and bargain hunting at the position in the late rounds of drafts. I have no problem if you want to invest in a tight end early and you miss out on Kelsey. Maybe you miss out on Andrews. I'll take a chance on Kyle Pitts because I have seen Marcus Mariota support tight end 1 finishes, and I've also seen Kyle Pitts have 1,000-yard season as a rookie, which is unheard of. Unheard of on a bad offense. So this offense might be even worse, top to bottom. But if Marcus Mariota fits perfectly as a guy to support Kyle Pitts, having a strong tight end 1 season, with an outside threat as the overall tight end 1 finish for the season itself.
And honestly, Drake London being there helps Kyle Pitts out, because if you look at what Mariota was dealing with back when he was on the Titans and having Delanie Walker as his de facto number 1 target in the receiving game, his number 1 wide receiver weapon was Rashard Matthews, who wasn't, clearing up space for Delanie Walker in the middle of the field and in the short to intermediate routes and even down the field. He was not. He was just a beneficiary of there being nobody else in that depth chart to pull targets away from. But you look, Drake London should help Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
And to your point, 1,000 yards as a rookie, unheard of. I think the last tight end to do that was Mike Ditka in the 70s. So come on, he's insane. Kyle Pitts is a dude, and I think I would rather have Kyle Pitts a little bit later than Kittle. If you're comparing the two, I would rather have Pitts a round later than Kittle a round earlier.
Well, so on Underdog, Pitts is going in the 3rd round, Kittle's going in the 5th round. I don't know if that's different on Yahoo or Sleeper. I don't think it's different on Sleeper. I don't know if that's different on Yahoo or ESPN.
It's different on Sleeper. That's where I've been doing some mocks, and I've basically on Sleeper at least, Kittle is going ahead of Pitts, about a round ahead of Pitts. But if you're seeing that with the smart drafters on Underdog, then I'm willing to take that.
On Underdog, Pitts goes usually 20 picks higher than Kittle.
Yeah. All right.
So if I see Kittle go ahead with Pitts on the board, if I'm up, I don't even know who's just based on the fact that it's just a sheer win. I'll just click on Pitts. Yeah. Just click on Kyle Pitts, and I'll figure everything else out later because I just won. So yeah, again, and I'll sing George Kittle's praises as a complete player at the position and a guy who is still a top 5 fantasy tight end. There's just
Pitts has more receiving upside.
Yeah, there's a couple more question marks about Kittle's role. Pitts is not going to be asked to do anything other than just be a big receiver for them. And
if you're comparing the quarterbacks, both of them are playing with mobile, maybe run-first options at QB. So, yes, we expect Trey Lance to have a higher ceiling than a Mariota. But, all else equal, both of them should be kind of in the same realm if you're looking at Mariota starting again versus Trey Lance basically starting for in his first year. So edge to Pitts for me, and it's close, but it's not that close.
Oh, it's not close for me. It's not close. I'll take Pitts in the 3rd before I'll take Kittle in the 5th.
Fair.
If that makes sense.
Warranted pick. Joe Harris, good to see you. Thanks for joining this question in full PPR, 3 wide receiver flex, and a flex setup. How would you guys start the draft off? You have the number 1 overall pick. Would you go wide receiver or running back to start? With the first overall pick, first off, I would be trying to see if you can trade back.
Not later than 3 or 4, though.
No. But I would be willing to trade back to 3 or 4 and see if you can pick up a Justin Jefferson or something like that. But if you can't do that, if you can't pull that off, Nick has been vocal about Christian McCaffrey being his 101 over Jonathan Taylor. Me, I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far, but picking Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey, depending on if you want to take the safe bet in Jonathan Taylor or risk it with the higher injury risk but higher ceiling player in Christian McCaffrey, you could really go either way. So there are 3 ways you could go with this the way I see it. You could try to trade back and get a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, because we have both been vocal about the benefit of going wide receiver in redraft this season. But if you can't pull that off, getting either CMC or JT, depending on what your risk tolerance is, both safe bets.
Yeah, I would say, Joe, so I've been a big proponent of, and if you're interested, I'll pump this again for anybody jumping in late. We have officially released the first version of our of my 2022 draft plan. It is the third link in the description of this live stream. It is completely free. You just click the link and you can download it. So if that helps, in the draft plan, I am a big proponent of if you start 3 receivers and it's full PPR, I'm attacking receiver. So I would ask you, Joe, like, can you look? I know you're far away from the 2-3 turn. You know your league mates better than anybody else that's in this room. Do you expect? Can you look down the board and think to yourself and say to yourself, Leonard Fournette and Nick Chubb are going to be there at the 2-3 turn? Can you say that? If the answer is no, if you're like, I know that people are going to take running backs. People put a premium on running backs. Fournette's going to go in the second round. Nick Chubb, maybe he's going to be there, but you know, I know that people are going to take running backs higher than usual or typically. You know, and I'll also throw in a guy like Saquon Barkley, who is now regularly going in the middle of the second round of drafts. If you can't look down the board and definitively say that Fournette and Nick Chubb will be there, then my pick is Christian McCaffrey. If you think that there's going to be a run on wide receivers because you could start 3, maybe up to 4 with the flex and the full PPR, and you're looking at the situation and you're thinking to yourself, Leonard Fournette and Nick Chubb are going to be there at the 2-3 turn for me, then I have no problem taking Justin Jefferson 101.
Honestly, I have.
Or Cooper Kupp.
I think other players are going to be available to you.
Yeah.
I think other running backs are going to be available to you. Saquon could be available to you. Swift could be available to you, depending on how it goes.
Swift's not going to. It's full PPR. Swift's going to go by the high second round, if I had to guess. If you think Saquon is going to be there at the 2-3 turn because your league mates are worried about Saquon Barkley, if you're like, and I know these things are difficult to predict because you're talking about literally 20 picks in between the 101 and the 2-3 turn. But again, you know your league mates better than we do. If it's Saquon, but even if it's not Saquon, if Leonard Fournette and Nick Chubb are there at the 2-3 turn, or if you are thinking at least one of those dudes, and then maybe a James Conner, you know, it depends on how much you like Javonte Williams, although apparently it's been a 50-50 split in Broncos camp between him and Melvin Gordon. Do with that what you want. But if you think you can get any combination of Saquon, Fournette, and Chubb at the 2-3 turn, then I have no problem.
I think they're there. I think they're there. I really do.
I would go Justin Jefferson. You could also argue Cooper Kupp at the 101 since it's full PPR and you start 3 up to 4 wide receivers.
And for my money, I'm going to say Justin Jefferson is going to have a better year than Cooper Kupp this year. But that's just me.
I love Justin Jefferson this year.
Yeah.
We
just talked a lot about A-Rob. A-Rob is going to take some work away from Jefferson, or Kupp, rather. Van Jefferson, we haven't really mentioned him, but Sad J says, and Jefferson injured, though not sure what his injury is. Speculation is he's going to be ready for week 1. Plus, there's the possibility that they re-up with an OBJ. There might end up being, cliche, but a lot of mouths to feed for the Rams. That's not going to be the case for the Vikings. And we've talked about it a lot this offseason. The Vikings are due to open it up in a way that they haven't in a long time with their new coaching staff.
Yeah, maybe ever.
So Justin Jefferson to the moon. I think Justin Jefferson is my wide receiver 1 this year.
Okay, and he says just saw the follow up. You doubt it. League normally goes running back heavy. Oh, okay. And this complicates things. This is the first year that they have a 3 receiver setup. So I would say
try to trade back for sure.
Can you? Well, that would be my first question. Can you?
Then it's JT or CMC, and then go wide receiver with your next 4 picks.
Yeah. That's
and go
what I would,
hero RB, get your stud, go wide receiver with the next 4 picks, and then in the 6th round start hitting on wide receiver or running backs that have fallen, like a Josh Jacobs, like a Antonio Gibson, like even a few rounds later, Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, guys like that. So I think if your league normally drafts running back heavy, get your running back and then follow it up with stud wide receivers in the next 4 rounds to solidify having at least 3 wide receivers, stud wide receivers deep in your league, but having that anchor at running back. That would be my suggestion.
Yep.
So depending on what your risk tolerance is, JT or CMC, if you're less optimistic on CMC playing through a full slate of games, go JT. But CMC has the most potential on a week-to-week basis if he stays healthy. So if you're going for broke, if you're going for it all, and your risk tolerance is high, go CMC and then follow it up. Wide receiver.
Yep. Taylor's the safe pick. If you're personally locked in to Jonathan Taylor as your 101, then by all means go for it. But even in full PPR, I would vouch even more for the upside of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, especially this year where they will most likely, if they're smart, opt to scale back his workload on the ground and
throw the ball to him as much as possible.
Right, especially with a slight QB upgrade in Baker Mayfield.
Yep. So yeah, I would assume your league mates don't course correct with the added wide receiver spot until maybe next year.
So capitalize on them maybe being slow on the pickup there.
Yeah.
And Nemo A is Michael Pittman in the second too high in an 18-man guillotine league. I think so.
That's probably a little
I like Michael Pittman
high.
as much as the next person, probably more than the next person, but I'm looking at Pittman in the third. I'm not looking at him in the second, even in a 1 QB situation. Yeah. There's a chance that he finishes a lot higher than some of the people that are picked before him, but still, I'm looking at him in the third because I think you can wait and pick up another stud ahead of him and still get him in the third.
Yep.
As long as your third round pick isn't super late. And Rojo, much appreciated. Thank you. Sajay, so far I've drafted very few teams without Andrews or Pitts on them. Goes against some conventional draft styles, but those top TEs seem must drafts, and I would agree.
Sprinkle in if you're. I don't know if this is like best ball or you just have like a bunch of redraft leagues. If you've got more, or if you're playing best ball, if you're just playing a bunch of leagues and just seeing what happens, throwing, for lack of a better term, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Sprinkle in those elite tight ends when you can. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they are difference makers for sure. Johnny Jones, and this is, I got to ask you to throw your format that you're playing into the chat too, but would you trade Trey Lance, Deontay Johnson, and Alberto for Pitt straight up? You could change that from Deontay to Elijah Moore and Alberto to Mike Gesicki. Straight off the gate, I would change Alberto to Mike Gesicki. Younger, in a better offense, isn't playing pure blocker in camp, and
Gesicki's been blocking a lot.
He's been blocking.
Camp.
He's been a pure blocker.
Take that how you want, or how however much weight you put into something like that. But Gesicki's been blocking an awfully lot this year. I don't know how much that stays the same, just because they did they franchise tag him, or did they finally lock him up?
They franchise tagged him.
So they're paying him a lot of money. So he's gonna run routes for them, but he's blocking a lot in camp, for whatever that's worth. Anyway, I don't know if I interrupted any thoughts for you, but as far as I'm concerned, if you're trying to go out of your way to overpay to get Kyle Pitts, you won't hear any argue. I won't have an issue with that.
Right. I'm just saying I would rather trade away Gesicki than Alberto.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of Deontay versus Elijah Moore, Deontay just came off of a wide receiver 8 season in full PPR. So if you can move that to Elijah Moore, even though we both are huge fans of Elijah Moore, and it looks like Elijah Moore is their number one, I would do that too. So if it was Trey, Elijah Moore, and Gesicki, that's more palatable for me than Trey Lance, Deontay, and Alberto. I don't love the idea of giving up on Trey Lance before I've seen him on the field because he has technically the upside of a Josh Allen.
He does. I mean,
he has the upside of a
maybe
Justin
not.
Herbert. He has the upside. He has the ceiling,
the potential
of
the
those
tools.
guys. Yes,
the tools are there.
I'm not saying he's going to reach it. I'm not saying he's even going to be 80% of those guys, but he has the tools and the upside to get there. So I'm not super bullish on trading away Trey Lance until I know what I have in Trey Lance. But your format would go a long way here because if it's one QB,
then it's an easier pill to swallow because you are getting maybe a top in one quarterback. Kyle Pitts is an easy top 5 dynasty asset.
Yes.
Maybe higher depending on how you value running backs.
So Trey Lance, Elijah Moore, and Gesicki for Pitts. Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
In a 1 QB. Sure.
Yeah, I'll take Pitt. If you can get it done, and if you need to throw, I know we've been talking about this in the Discord. I know he also has Clyde and has been included. If you need to throw Clyde in there as well to get the deal done, like, fine. Fine. Unless the guy's just off Clyde, which would also not be the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because lots of people are off Clyde.
Honestly, if I have Clyde, I'm holding on to him. Because I think anytime you're selling Clyde now, you're selling low.
If he's a throw-in to get Pitts, I hear you, but also we're talking Kyle Pitts here.
Yeah.
I want Kyle Pitts.
No, but if you can do Trey, Elijah Moore, and Gesicki for Pitts, I would press yes on that right now.
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
Xavier Dobbs, new member with Marcus at QB. Sheesh. That's crazy. Conventional wisdom might lead you
just our optimism for Pitts?
Hey, conventional wisdom might lead you there because you're thinking Mariota's trash.
He might
But Mariota, the one time where Mariota has succeeded, it's because he heavily targeted his tight end. And his tight end at the time wasn't half of what Pitts is.
Delanie Walker was a damn good player. Like, no disrespect to Delanie Walker. Pitts might already be better as a 21-year-old.
I think he is.
Will be 22 in October.
He's certainly more of a unicorn.
And he's
certainly
baby.
More of a athletic specimen.
So. He literally was not legally allowed to drink a beer when he entered the league, and then he went on to catch 1,000 yards. Pitts is unbelievable.
And Delanie Walker, if Delanie Walker was kind of like I think he was like 6'2", so he was more of a wide receiver playing tight end.
He was 6'2",
and Kyle Pitts, isn't he like 6'5"?
Pitts is 6'6".
6'6". Okay.
Kyle Pitts is a small forward playing tight end. He is.
So he's an even bigger target for Mariota than Delanie was, and Delanie was a top 5 tight end in back-to-back seasons with Mariota.
The man was built in a lab.
Yeah. So it might seem crazy, but the reality is that it's the truth.
Yeah. Like, Kyle Pitts could join the Avengers. 6'6", 250, 22 years old. Come on. I can't wait to watch him this year. And I don't care if the Falcons win one game. I don't care.
He's in the Avengers, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier.
Hey, there we go.
Hey.
There we go.
Nemo, how crazy is this monster strategy of grabbing CMC and Barkley with the first and second round picks, and then waiting for another back until 7th and 8th?
Not
rounds.
Crazy.
That's not crazy. That's the ideal strategy.
That's the strategy I am opting for.
That is the ideal strategy.
In any scenario where I'm drafting 2 running backs, where I'm going running back, I will quote unquote reach for a wide receiver over an RB3. because it's just, you're talking about building your optimal lineup. And if you go running back, yeah, I don't want another running back for maybe 100 more picks. I'm smashing wide receiver where I can. If I can get a Trey Lance, I'll throw Jalen Hurts in there as well at quarterback in the 7th round or so. Maybe I fall into a good tight end. Hell, maybe I'm getting Kyle Pitts with my 3rd pick. Maybe I'm going running back, Kyle Pitts, and then wide receiver. Like, that's exactly, if I go running back, which again, don't pigeonhole yourself into any one strategy. Never pigeonhole yourself. If you're looking at your situation and you took a running back in the 1st round and your best bet in the 2nd round is another running back, based on your own research, projections, and what you think is available to you later, do it. But then I'm not taking another running back for a while. For a long time. That's not crazy at all. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah, I would agree. Hunter Eckler fell in our draft. Kind of odd. Hey.
A little bit. A little bit. I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, with it being super flex, I don't think he fell. He still went ahead of Najee, ahead of Joe Mixon, ahead of DeAndre Swift. So he was still the 4th wide running back taken, which is right in line with our rankings. If you were listening to our rankings live stream a month ago now, so I think it's right in line with where his value is in Superflex. So
you're on the clock. Speaking of,
I know I'm gonna wait.
You can wait. That's fine.
I'm gonna wait.
Did we miss anything as far as any questions or comments that you guys want us to talk about? I'm just, I'm
Nemo
scrolling
says
through the chat.
Zeke, Pitts, or Higgins already have Henry in full PPR.
Yeah, I saw that, and we'll get to that. I just wanted to make sure we have all of our bases covered because I know we missed a bunch of like member draft conversation. So I just want to make sure if we missed anything, if you guys threw anything in the chat earlier that we maybe missed, go ahead and repost it. Just an FYI. Yeah. And Joe can't trade back, so yeah. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey if I'm you. That's not a problem for me. And you're welcome. Always happy to talk shop. But as far as Zeke, Pitts, or Higgins, is this the member draft? For me, in that scenario, in full PPR, I'm taking T. Higgins. I do love me some Kyle Pitts, but I am prepared to. But T. Higgins is a low-end wide receiver 1 for me. Gets a boost in full PPR. Is attached to a great is actually in a good offense. All things equal, when the talent is elite, give me the guy in the better offense. And nobody's going to argue that the Bengals offense is better than the Falcons offense right now. T. Higgins on Underdog Fantasy regularly goes around the 2-3 turn. Kyle Pitts goes maybe 8-9 picks later, generally speaking. Now, I did see Kyle Pitts go high 2nd round in a high stakes draft one time over a lot of different players, over Mike Evans, over Saquon, over Deebo Samuel, over Tyreek Hill. I did see that. I think he went over Mark Andrews. I did see it happen once. 99.9% of the time, T. Higgins goes, I would say about 8-9, maybe 10 picks ahead of Kyle Pitts. So by the nature of the beast, I have to suggest Higgins.
And Nick has been a proponent of drafting Higgins higher than I have as soon as this offseason. But I've come around to Higgins. There was a large swath of time last year where Higgins was a higher performer on a game-to-game basis than his teammate Jamar Chase. Now that was in Jamar Chase's rookie season, and T. Higgins was in his 3rd season. But regardless, there you go.
Yep.
Higgins is legit, for real. So I would have to piggyback on your thinking there.
Yeah. But I would reverse the Higgins, Pitts, Zeke in that order, especially with full PPR, and you already have Derrick Henry.
and Hunter L, you thinking Dalvin at the 212 in our members only league? If so, we might need to talk.
Hey, those picks were already made.
If anybody wants Dalvin Cook, hit me up.
It's John's pick is on the block. Let it be known.
So if anybody is head hunting for Dalvin Cook, let me know.
If I wasn't only a couple spots behind you, I might hit you up, but I think I'm gonna stay where I'm at because
honestly, I'm kicking myself that DeAndre Swift was picked with the 212 because I was hoping he would be there for me. But look at Alex going quarterback heavy when
that's third round reversal. Remember that's Hunter's pick.
Oh, what? Okay.
And Hunter and Alex made a trade earlier. Hunter got the 301. Hunter got the 301 and the 612. And Alex got the 410, the 5.3, and the 6.10. So
the Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Matt Stafford is not a bad way to start your draft. So good job, man. Good job. No comment on taking Mr. Rogers. No comment. But Sad J, half PPR 10-man redraft league from the 7th spot today. Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Kyle Pitts, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, Trey Lance, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad Bateman, Rashad Penny, Kadarius Toney, etc. Is that squad worth a humble brag? Absolutely.
You bet your ass it is. Justin Jefferson out of the 7 hole, he should be going 4th. He has an argument, even in half PPR, he has an argument to go 1st.
Now it's 10-man. So 10-man is playing with training wheels. But no disrespect, that team is awesome.
That team kicks ass.
That team is awesome.
I do prefer 12-man to 10-man leagues.
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, Rashad Bateman, and Kadarius Toney as your 5th wide receiver, and then having DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, who by all accounts has been lighting up camp as the RB1 through 6 straight camp outings. Yep. So that was a report that dropped today. And then you have Dobbins, who is due for a late season resurgence.
You can wait on for maybe a couple weeks if you have to.
Right. Penny, we talked about yesterday as a guy that we're both more in on than we thought we would be. And then having Lance at QB, Pitts at tight end. Yuck, yo. Like, it's... Good job, man. Sad J. Hats off. Claps all around.
There you go. Actually, I just got this was yesterday. I must have missed this. I got a tweet from the gray area. You remember the Falcon? He was trying to squeeze as much as he could from the Falcons fan for Jake London, for Drake London. Excuse me, not Jake London.
London Drake.
Yeah, he got an offer of London and throwing in Josh Palmer for a 23 first, a 25 first, and a 24 second. I'm pretty sure that's what we were telling him to try to get.
Good job.
I'm gonna tell. I missed this. Yes. I'm going to tell him smash accept if you haven't already.
Yeah, good job.
We do we're coming around on London, but if you can get 2 firsts, he said the 23 first should be within the top 6 of the draft, 25 first and a 2024 second. And the only filler he needs to include is a guy I do like in Josh Palmer, but is very clearly filler.
Yes. No, that's a win. Good job to gray area. And Sad J, thoughts on who will have more points between Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris this year in the Patriots backfield? I think they're going to be more split than everybody thinks. I think there's a segment of the draft community that thinks Damian Harris is still the number 1, and there's a growing segment of the fantasy community that thinks Ramondre is going to run away with the number 1 role. That's just not the way that the Patriots typically operate. Now, James White, I don't expect anything from James White this year. I think he's done. I don't expect anything from the rookies this year in Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. I don't really expect much. If anything, it's going to be Pierre Strong mixed in a little bit in that James White role. But I think it's going to be split between Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. I think it's going to be an even split right down the middle. I don't think there's an edge to either player either way. I think both are viable where they're being drafted.
I will just say this, because this came up actually during one of the streams last week when you were off visiting family.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Harris is in a contract year. The Patriots, based off of how they normally operate and the draft capital they spent on running backs, not just with Ramondre last year, but what they did this year, the rookies you just mentioned. Patriots are in a position where they could give as much work to Damian Harris as they want to and then just let him walk. So, personally, I would still give the edge to Damian Harris operating as the 1A, based on the fact that they can continue to work Ramondre in as a 1B, but not overload him until next year when he would probably step in as a clear-cut starter.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. A lot has been made about Ramondre Stevenson being a plus pass catcher, which he is. And that's rare for a big back. You don't see many 231-pound backs catching the ball as much as Ramondre Stevenson has. He kind of gives me LeGarrette Blount vibes in terms of the size that he brings to the table. But he had 14 receptions to Damian Harris's 18 last season. So while a lot of people, and you hear it a lot on other fantasy podcasts or media or whatever, they're giving praise to Ramondre Stevenson for being a plus pass catcher. And they seem to be forgetting that Damian Harris was just as good as a pass catcher as Ramondre Stevenson last season. Now, giving that amount of targets, I think it was 18 targets to a rookie wide receiver in the Patriots backfield, is relatively unheard of. So Ramondre Stevenson might have more pass catching upside than Damian Harris. But as of right now, they both have equitable pass catching upside. Personally, I believe. Looking at the numbers. And Damian Harris last season, 15 total touchdowns. Now he's due for some positive or negative touchdown regression. But he can score 10.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ramondre Stevenson had 5. He could score 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And the rush attempts could look pretty similar. And the passing down work should look pretty similar. I honestly think they're going to be carbon copies of each other. Now, the narrative that you spoke on with Damian Harris being in a contract year, absolutely. But I don't think that's going to come so much to the expense of a Ramondre Stevenson that we're not going to see them getting a 50-50 split. I think it's going to be a 50-50 split. I think this backfield is going to mimic the backfield of Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon last season, where it was the most even split in the NFL, and both of them finished as mid-tier RB2s. I think that's going to happen with the Patriots backfield this season.
I don't doubt Ramondre can't have an RB2 season.
I think Damian Harris is going to have an RB2 season right along with him.
I am still operating like they're going to give Harris 1A work because they can. I hate to, running backs get just chewed up and spit out in the NFL, and the Patriots are in a situation where they can do that with Damian Harris this year. So
RB 14 last year.
Yeah,
RB 18 in points per game.
I think Harris is looking at more carries, maybe more overall touches, because they're both good players. Ramondre doesn't take on a huge workload this year, but he does next year when Harris walks, gets a contract with somebody else, and Ramondre officially gets promoted next year. We'll see. And then the Patriots could always, they're one of those teams where, Ramondre could be like a good, maybe Damian Harris walks in free agency next year, signs somewhere. Ramondre might be a good sell high candidate in that scenario because the Patriots, I would say, are a good bet to draft another running back with decent draft capital.
I don't know if they draft another one because they just drafted 2 of them in this past year's draft with the intention to stash them. So going into next year, even if they let go of Damian Harris with Ramondre Stevenson, Pierre Strong, and Kevin Harris, I think is their game plan moving forward. I don't know if they draft another one. But with that said, you could prepare for that eventuality in Dynasty by going in and trying to get your hands on a Pierre Strong or a Kevin Harris this year while they are fighting for the number 4 spot, because people might still be thinking that James White is going to be playing this year. which would slot Pierre Strong or Kevin Harris into the 4 or 5 slot. So
and White's on the PUP list and apparently has been having a difficult time with the hip injury that he suffered last year.
And I don't think we see him this year. I honestly don't.
That's a tough injury to come back from, especially for an aging running back. It sucks, but it's an uphill battle for James White.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I think they're going to be pretty evenly split. So as it is lots of times with these ambiguous backfields, especially Patriots, Belichick backfields in the past, take the cheapest option who's going to be starting for at least 33% of the workload, which right now is Ramondre. But depending on how much this hype train goes out of control with Ramondre, could end up being Damian Harris by week 3 of the preseason. So keep an eye on that. Basically draft whichever one of these two guys is going latest in your drafts, and you should end up with at least a 45% workload in the Patriots backfield for the 2022 season.
Yep.
But thanks for the question, man.
Course,
always love to see you in here. Sad J Cutler is one of the best YouTube names I've seen. I'm not gonna lie, I've always thought that.
Pretty solid.
Pretty damn solid. Hunter L, CMC, Derrick Henry, Dalvin, and Stafford. Ooh, Damian Harris, or not Damian Harris. Romeo Doubs would be my wide receiver
Dubs.
one. I mean, he could be, and you could get that stack if you trade with me right now.
Take him in the 5th round.
Get Aaron Rodgers instead of Dalvin Cook.
There you go.
Always an option. Nemo over under on John Snipe and Nemo 5. I'm not gonna take any.
John, there's got to be some trades that happen where one of you ends up right next to the other.
Johnny Jones in Dynasty, would you trade James Conner for Elijah Moore? Yeah, but I think you can get more than Elijah Moore for James Conner come the start of the season. Once you see once the person that's trading for James Conner sees James Conner come away in week 1 or week 2, week 3 with a couple of 1 to 2 touchdown games, considering DeAndre Hopkins isn't there, and James Conner's workload is going to be pretty heavy early in the year. So yes, right away, I would take Elijah Moore for James Conner, but I honestly think you can wait and get a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James Conner's a projected RB1 this year by a lot of people.
Us included.
Yeah, you might be able to get a pick out of that or another young player. But I'm not opposed to it. That's for sure. If you can get a little extra.
No, Elijah Moore looks to be their best wide receiver, and I think he's only 22 right now.
So yeah, Elijah Moore is very young.
Yeah, he came into the league at 21.
Yeah, he turned 22 in March. So
yeah. But I think you can get a little bit more out of that if you can be a little bit patient.
Yeah.
Wait a month, wait for James Conner to pop off week 1, week 2, and then trade him to the Elijah Moore owner, because Elijah Moore is dealing, despite the glowing reports that came out this past week, Elijah Moore is dealing with more target competition than he has ever dealt with in the past. So you could be able to work in some sort of extra draft capital or player pick there along with Elijah Moore for a trade of James Conner. Iron, I'm not going to take the bait. Sad
Make the
J.
pick now. John might be thinking about John wants to hop off this stream so he can try to talk negotiations with whoever wants to talk shop. That's what he wants to do.
Nah, man, we chilling. I got 8 hours. I can wait.
Trying to.
It is about to be 8:00 though, so that Hall of Fame game is on. And if I'm not mistaken, you have a prior engagement that you have to dip for at 8:30. If we go a little bit further past.
Yeah, one of our buddies is in LA for the weekend, meeting up with it. I got dinner plans with him, so that'll be fun. Fun little get together. So I do have that going on. That'll be nice. I mean, we got a little bit of time here, but yeah. That is something that I have on the back burner at the moment.
But I mean, we're pretty much out of questions.
Yeah.
Or concerns regarding the chat. So if you have any more questions for us, throw them in the chat for sure. Another quick shout out for Nick's excellent work on the redraft draft kit that is available in the second link of this video or on our website, facemaskpod.com. It's right there underneath the homepage link. You can click on that, get a free download of our 2022 redraft draft kit, 30 plus pages of great content with a 1 QB focus, but some Superflex 2 QB nuggets in there too. So definitely take a look at that. This is great free content for you guys.
Yeah. Player breakdowns by position, strategy based on how you're not predicting what any one specific scenario, but trying to help out as far as like, okay, if this happens, consider doing this type of approach. In addition to player write-ups for probably, I don't know, how many players did I do? 150? Maybe that's not totally accurate.
At least 125, I would say.
There's a lot of player write-ups there. More are coming. Romeo Dubs will be joining the draft kit at some point. Isaiah McKenzie will join the draft kit at some point.
Hunter Renfrow, I think
Renfro's
you
already
want to
in
add
there.
a little bit on Ronald Jones, but Isaiah Pacheco, a couple of these guys. Alec Pierce, I don't know if you got to him. He had some news that came some positive news that came his way.
The guy I need to
Phillips.
throw in. The guy I got to throw in is Paris Campbell. I don't think I threw him in there.
Ooh, all right.
I got to throw Paris Campbell in there. I don't know if I threw in Marlon Mack. I don't know if I might have messed that one up. So obviously more to come. There will be other variations of it. We will, of course, let everybody know when those changes happen. But as John mentioned, the first variation of the draft plan is officially live. All it takes is a click and a download and some light reading for you guys when you have the time. And hopefully it's helpful.
Yeah, yo. Hunter L, do it live. Nah. Thoughts on CD Lamb?
The people want to see you make your pick now.
I don't care. I don't care. Hey, if you want to negotiate with me live right now for the pick, throw it in the chat. But I have the right to take my time with this one.
You do have the right.
Hunter L, thoughts on CD Lamb? I mean, he's a mid-tier wide receiver 1 for me.
It's going to command all the work he can handle.
Yeah, no James Washington for the foreseeable future. No Michael Gallup competition for the foreseeable future. His competition for targets are the 2 running backs, Dalton Schultz, and a rookie in Jalen
Tolbert, yeah.
And some of y'all, I think the fantasy community has kind of forgotten how good Dak Prescott can be.
He was a little up and down last year, but still set a franchise record for touchdowns thrown. They were the number 1 offense in the NFL, and that felt like a down year for them. Now Amari Cooper is gone. Cedric Wilson moves on. CD is and the thing with foot fractures as it pertains to James Washington, you obviously hope for as quick and speedy a recovery as you could possibly get. Err on the expected longer, closer to the 10-week timeline than the 6-week timeline, which if that's the case, we're waiting until maybe that first weekend of October. It might be like week 4 or 5 for James Washington to return. So CD's got a chance to get off to a white-hot start for the first few weeks of the season. And even then, when James Washington returns, it's going to take time to get the conditioning back up, revamp, get back into game shape. We don't know if we're going to see the James Washington that the Cowboys are hoping to get until maybe mid-season, like week 7, week 8. So CD's got a chance to start this year on absolute fire.
Yeah.
And I like looking for guys that I think have a chance to build strong momentum right out the gate and set the tone for their season. CD fits that mold.
And if you remember the game against New England, 11 targets, 9 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, like, he's not... He's started hot out the gate before.
Mm-hmm.
That was my point. But, Hunter, I'm not giving you no hints. I'm not giving you no hints.
The people
man.
want you to make your pick.
I'm not giving you no hints. If you want the pick, come and get the pick. If you want Dalvin Cook, come and get the pick.
There you go.
It is what it is. If you want Andrews, if you want Lamb, if you're headhunting for Rodgers or Kyle Pitts, come get the pick. I'm not giving you no hints. But Johnny Jones, thoughts on Jahan Dotson when compared to the rest of the rookie wide receivers worth a first-round pick in rookie drafts? I think he's still worth a first-round pick.
Late first.
Honestly, George Pickens might have overtaken him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I think the 112 is where I'd be looking at Jahan Dotson if the rest of the wide receivers plus Pickens have already gone. Considering the good news that Leonard Fournette got with respect to the concerns that we had earlier in the offseason, I don't know how much run Rachaad White is going to get early on. It looked like he might get more than we projected for him out the gate, with Leonard Fournette reporting so overweight, but it looks like those concerns were a little bit overblown, and Leonard Fournette has gotten down back to playing weight and looks 100% healthy and all that. So some of those running backs in there should be pushed down a little bit further. Jahan Dotson, first round wide receiver, has shown nothing but solid play throughout minicamp, OTAs, training camp. Could continue that into the preseason. Should continue that into the preseason. Now he's not going to be the number one target out the gate for the foreseeable future, but by the time he's 25, should be. By the time he's 25, Jahan Dotson should be the number one wide receiver for the Commanders. So I think he's worth a first-round pick. His best comparable on Player Profiler is Tyler Lockett, if I'm not mistaken. So as long as the Commanders make a solid move or a forward-thinking good move at quarterback in the foreseeable future, and Terry McLaurin, doesn't play until he's 35, I think Jahan Dotson is a good bet to be a very solid fantasy starter within the next 2 to 3 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got breaking news about the Hall of Fame game. We are in a weather delay. So,
all right,
everybody who's waiting to watch football, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
That's the most 2020 news I've heard all year or all day.
Yeah. I have not seen anything specific about when they expect to kick off, but we are officially in a weather delay with the Hall of Fame game.
So we're chilling.
Womp womp.
Rojo Fish, Jahan Dotson, the talent is fire.
The talent's great, yeah. It's just kind of meh.
I would agree.
Washington is blah, but he was the 16th overall pick.
The talent is there. And if the comparable to Tyler Lockett is anything to put any weight behind, he won't need a ton of targets to achieve a solid fantasy outing for you. Tyler Lockett was a guy that could do the most on a few targets. Jahan Dotson might be that same type of guy. Might be. So, got to keep that in mind. Could even be a wide receiver 3 in redraft as soon as his rookie season, depending on how Carson Wentz ends up working out. Nemo, a guy named Dennis Houston is getting quiet buzz around Dallas camp. So a guy named Houston is getting quiet buzz around Dallas. I haven't heard anything about Dennis Houston. Is he a running back or a wide receiver?
I think he's a wide receiver.
Well, they traded away Cedric Wilson. Don't have James Washington. Don't have Gallup. Traded away Amari Cooper. So they're gonna have to dig deep.
Yep.
Who wasn't like Malik Turner and Noah Brown? Weren't those guys for the Dallas Cowboys last season?
They were there.
Are they still there?
I don't know if they're. I don't know. Can look that up. No, Taylor signed with the Packers.
Okay.
And who was the other guy?
Noah Brown.
Oh, right. I think he's still with the Cowboys. He is. I would think his roster spot is fine with all, given the situation the Cowboys face at the position. I would think.
And I mean, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look at Dennis Houston, see what's been said about him. I haven't heard about him at all, so that might be a deep dive. Might be worth take a note of. Might not be, but something we got to look into. Because have you heard of him before?
I have not. I've heard of Vasher.
Yeah. I heard of Vasher too, but I haven't heard of Houston, so something we're going to have to take note of. Hunter, I'm not giving you a hint. I'm not giving you a hint. I'm waiting, and I'm going to make the best decision possible in my own time. Rojo, I would agree. Jahan Dotson is worth the late first, and if he falls to the
somewhere
second,
around
early
Pickens.
second for sure.
Yeah, somewhere around Pickens or James Cook or Rachaad White, somewhere in that range.
How would you think a rookie draft plays out now? Breece Hall, Drake London, Kenneth Walker,
maybe Burks. No, Olave. I think
Olave. Yep. Then Burks. J-Mo.
Nah, I think Wilson still goes ahead of him.
Okay, Garrett Wilson. Then J-Mo. Then Sky Moore, Christian Watson.
Sky Moore. I don't think. I think Watson maybe falls a little bit. He just hasn't. He's on the PUP list. James Cook is probably in that range now, of that like 109, 110 area. Pickens, and then maybe Dotson, like maybe around like the 110, 111, somewhere around there. And then I would say maybe Watson goes. Dotson should go over Watson, the 16th overall pick versus the second round pick who is on the PUP list right now.
Yeah.
Dotson should go over Watson. And then I would say and then Rachaad White.
But James Cook still deserving of some love. I mean,
like the 109-ish, I would say. Around the 109, and then maybe around the second round, around the start of the second round, Rachaad White, probably some Dameon Pierce, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tolbert absolutely is going way up right now. Tolbert's probably going to be going around the 1-2 turn, I would say, in some leagues.
He's deserving of it. I
mean, given the situation, the opportunity, the draft capitals is solid, not spectacular, but solid. Landing the ideal, the situation is ideal. There's a lot to like with Tolbert. So if you drafted early and got him in the third round or even the second round, that's looking like a pretty damn good value.
Yeah. Honestly, Tolbert might have fallen to the third depending on who you're drafting with, but
yeah, depending. Yeah.
Alec Pierce gets a little bump too, but I would still want Tolbert over
Algier
Pierce.
Gets a bump because he's, the report came out that he might be the Falcons starting running back.
Yep.
I would think Dameon Pierce maybe takes a slight tumble. Mechie, unfortunately, takes a tumble just because he's not going to play this year. Trying to think who else. Who else is going in that same range? Dubs obviously gets a boost, maybe more of like a late second round pick.
Yeah. I think you're on point there.
Zamir White probably falls. David Bell is probably like a second round, like a second roundish pick. He's on the PUP list, but
he's probably rising because it looks like Deshaun Watson could be playing sooner than later.
For at least
Velus
a little while.
Jones probably rose a little bit in there. Tyquan Thornton probably rose a little bit in there.
Spiller's a riser.
Spiller's a riser for sure. Yep, Spiller's a riser for sure. Yeah. And it looks like like Houston is a undrafted free agent out of a small school in Western Illinois. So,
well, the opportunity's there.
Yeah, I'll look him up. Hunter, I could double up on TE. Yeah, I could go Kelsey Andrews if I really wanted to. With it being tight end, slight tight end premium with the half PPR bump to tight ends, I could. If you don't want me to, offer me a deal. Do it. So how long is this delay?
I haven't. Let me see if there's any updates about where we stand here. I mean, we are at the end of the chat. So this is probably going to be wrapping up shortly. Let's see. It is still waiting. So.
Hey Hunter, don't tempt me. But hey, I legitimately thought about it.
You can go bully tight end.
I legitimately thought about it because we have the flex spots galore in this league. So I legitimately thought about it. You'll see which way I go. I'm in negotiations right now with a couple of people, so we'll see what happens. If you don't want to miss out, Hunter, hit me up. Fine, but what? Hey, I might take A-Rod.
Playing hardball.
Your boy.
Ooh. Let's draft out of spite.
Stranger things have happened. But regardless, we are getting to the end of the stream here. Thanks everybody for your questions, for your comments, for your nice words, kind words in the chat today.
Or your mean words, whatever.
Or your mean words, whatever. Don't care.
Don't care.
Xavier Dubs, thanks for joining as a member. Great to have you. Much appreciated.
Thanks for jumping on. I think he might have joined the Discord. It's a different name. It's what Mustard Tiger. Xavier, I don't know if you're still in here. If that's you, let me know. But
name.
If not, whoever Mustard Tiger is, thanks for joining the Discord. One more plug for the Discord. You don't have to be a member to join if you're not in there already. Obviously, we could just keep the conversation going over there. Opportunity to talk shop, ask questions, anything you care to talk about as it pertains to fantasy football. It is the third link in the description of this live stream. It's the second link in the description of most of our recent videos. Evergreen invite. Come on in. Talk shop. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly useful during the season as it pertains to start sit help.
Yes, sir.
And trade advice. So that's the plug for the Discord. And then also, the draft plan is officially live, version 1. Second link in the description of this live stream. And it's on our website, facemaskpod.com. John, thanks for putting that up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. CXK, what's going on? You're catching us right at the tail end. But congratulations on calling the Dubs.
Take. Yep, very solid take.
Dubs
Good
call.
to be ahead of the curve on that one. Respect.
Looking like a smart play there.
And Hunter, take him 2 and his 0 wide receivers. So you're finally coming around to fading Aaron Rodgers, even though you hated on us when we were doing it in our QB rankings.
He doesn't have 0. He's got Romeo Dubs
and a broken Sammy Watkins. And
Same
yes,
stuff.
Hunter, I will make the pick tonight. I'm not I am a degenerate, a fantasy degenerate. As soon as we get off of the live stream, I'm gonna be hitting up as many people as I can to see about trade negotiations, and then I'm gonna make the best decision for me. But it will be made tonight. It will probably be made within 30 minutes of the live stream ending. So don't you worry, man.
There you go.
But thank you everybody for chilling today. I hope y'all had a good time. We will be back same time, same place, Tuesday next week. Look out for some content over the weekend. Just took a little bit of a break with me being off for a week and Nick holding it down 100% of the time on the live streams. So we're getting back into the rhythm of things with the Hall of Fame game and the preseason upon us. The time is now to get some more content out, so we're going to be doing that very soon. Thanks for chilling. Hope y'all have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Have fun watching the Hall of Fame game if you're doing that.
Hold off, Weather.
Peace, y'all. And everybody in the members league, you know, open for business. Hit me up.
There you go.
Peace, y'all.